Oh, we got him. He has returned from his yachting and jet setting and keto lifestyle. Jesse Kelly is with us now after a long vacation away from all the plebs. He is deigning to join us here on the Buck Sexton Show from down in Texas. Mr. Jesse Kelly is, of course, the host of I'm Right with Jesse Kelly on the Jesse Kelly Show on the wonderful KPRC Houston, where I am also a host, so it's the best station ever. Jesse, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. Just finished a week of vacation. I don't want to rub it in everybody's face, Buck, but it was, beer on the beach and eating a lot of Red Lobster, fancy stuff like that.
Lobster is lobster as long as it's fresh. So wherever you get it, man, I actually think Red Lobster is pretty good too. So I'm with you on that. So Jesse Kelly, it feels to me like we're now just increasingly so beaten down as a nation by all the COVID stuff, even though the economy that we're just seeing more and more businesses that are going under forever. Everyone's looking to the government for handouts, state and local. People are looking because the economy's been shut down. It's not their fault. Are we just going to get dragged through this until Election Day and maybe beyond? How do you see the country? Does the country ever wake from its COVID somnambulance?
Honestly, I see this is so doom and gloom, Buck. You asked me these questions, and I don't want to give you honest answers. The truth is, people think this ends on Election Day. Trump wins and they give it up, or Biden wins and they give it up, say go home. I think this is how it is now. I think the left is so committed. They're so radicalized. I think they are going to just live in this perpetual state of rioting at all times. And now you see what's happening in Chicago. Now everybody's so angry because we've ginned up so much anger, most of it based on total falsehoods, but we've ginned up so much anger, any slight spark, and instantly they're rioting, they're rioting, they're looting again. It's a total disaster. I think this is what it's going to be for a while, man.
How do we think Trump is doing in handling this at this stage?
I think he's doing fine now at this point in time, but we can't forget, and look, I don't want to, I'm not going to sit and crush the guy over everything that's old, but the truth is, him and the GOP, as soon as George Floyd died, the GOP, Donald Trump included, got really scared about all the media coverage. He brings in Van Jones to the White House. They're talking police reform. They decided the cops were the bad guy like everyone else. Now, they saw the poll numbers and changed their minds in about a week, but the GOP helped get this train a-rolling just as fast as it's rolling now.
Jesse, how are you guys doing down in Texas? I know you're in Houston, and Texas became big for a lot of reasons, right? The media's focus on, there was almost a glee as they were reporting more and more COVID cases in Texas, which is appalling, but I expect nothing more. I mean, I actually think the media really is the enemy of the people. I don't have any problem saying that. How are you guys doing down there? Because it seems like we're not hearing as much about how awful it is in Texas now with COVID, which makes me think, oh, maybe things are actually getting better, and we're not allowed to know that.
Well, look, they're better as far as COVID goes. I mean, when I say there's no fear of COVID here, Buck, I mean there's no fear. I live in the burbs. I work in downtown Houston, so I experience everybody here. There is no COVID concerns. You're going to see the occasional lady with 19 face masks on as she shops in Target, but people aren't worried about it. They're all worried about their livelihoods here, and yet our governor, our Republican governor, still putting out all these mandates. Houston's now passing new mandates. Everybody's just doing a new mandate because they see the guy next to him doing it. Texas is fine and would be fine anyway.
So Texas is fine. What do you think ends up happening next then? I mean, how do we, are we all just kind of waiting around till we get the vaccine? I mean, you've been saying, look at the economic consequences. I've been trying to. It feels like people are just accepting, I guess we're going to have millions and millions without jobs and we're going to run up trillions of dollars more debt. I don't know, man. I mean, the people got really upset during the Tea Party era and there was a mass mobilization of actual peaceful protest. And it feels like we're just getting, I don't know, give me liberty or give me death has turned into, unless there's a virus that kills 0.03% of the people who get it, and then whatever the government tells me is fine. And it feels like we keep coming back to this.
Well, the problem is, Buck, the government and the doctors and the corporations and everybody else joined together in the beginning, and they cemented in the minds of the American people, coronavirus is going to murder everybody. Stop trying to kill grandma. Millions are going to die. And now they've gotten to such a point where they're addicted to it. It's like a drug. All these government officials are addicted to it. Everybody wants the virtue signal. We have masks, so we have masks and hand sanitizer stations. Oh, we don't allow people within 10 feet. So there's only two things that are going to stop this madness. One, a vaccine comes out that a lot of government-tied people are going to make money off of. Or two, complete economic collapse. That is the other thing that will do it. When people were stuck in Hoovervilles outside of D.C. again, they'll wake up and tell all these politicians what they should have told them in the beginning. Go screw yourself, screw your mandates. I'm not closing my business. I'm not closing my church. We're all opening at full capacity. You're welcome to come try to stop us.
I was in a very liberal college town over the weekend with family, just trying to hang out and get some time out of the hellscape that is New York City right now. And it was surprising because it was a couple of hours drive from New York, and there were wild animals everywhere. My brother saw bears, stuff like that going on. But you go into the main town, the one street town, and it's liberal because there's a big college there, and you got everyone is masked up. It's 90 degrees outside. Okay, they're walking by themselves outside with these masks on, these different things. And I went into a little cafe, which clearly it looked like some of they would be college kids, although I don't know if anyone's going to be in the college this fall because, schools can't open. And there are all these young people in there that are masked up, and they have a mask mandate, but they have indoor seating going on. So they have people sitting down to eat in this part of New York. They all have their masks down, but you can't walk into the restaurant unless you have a mask on. But the moment you sit down and maybe you spend, 30, 45 minutes, then the mask comes down and you're talking, breathing, eating like everybody else. And I want to look at people and be like, does anyone disagree that this is just idiocy now? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I don't know how. I mean,
I don't understand why you have such a problem with science, with medical advice, Buck. What is your problem? Clearly, the 50-cent cloth mask will stop this super virus. And if the 50-cent cloth mask doesn't, 6 feet will. If you were to close within 5 feet, you die like that. But as soon as you go to 6, the virus can't possibly penetrate that 6-foot barrier. And get this, the virus only spreads when you walk from the restaurant door to the table. Once you're seated eating, the virus can't spread anymore. All this is science, Buck. Just trust the doctors, please.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm told to do now. Even my favorite one, Jesse, you guys probably haven't had this out of Texas. There are little almost like footprints, but for your shoes, where in the elevator, it's saying stand this far apart in my elevator where I live. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, this is so stupid. It is beyond words. And this is all over the city now. They're telling you to stand apart from each other in the elevator. This may be news to our lib overlords who now are getting away with every kind of insanity and stupidity over this. But it was not my practice previously to Joe Biden strangers in the elevator and sniff their neck. Like usually you don't stand, if you don't know, you don't stand right next to somebody in the elevator. But now, you got to stand in the corner like you're on a timeout and should be wearing a dunce cap.
Oh, it gets worse, Buck. From the place I just vacationed, I'm not going to call out the name of the hotel. It was a little high-end, Motel 6. But you get on the elevator, they have it. It's on the elevator. Only one family allowed at a time on the elevator. But here's the best part. I didn't care. If someone else was on, I'm getting on anyway. I'm not waiting for the next elevator because of these idiotic rules. But nobody cared. And I mean, nobody cared. The second everyone got on the elevator, everybody took down their masks. We're all rolling our eyes about it. It's the percentage of the population that takes this seriously versus the percentage that pretends to take it seriously, it's a big difference.
I'm waiting for when the rest of New York, which has still been hit worse than anywhere else by this, Jesse, I did not see a person without a mask for a solid 2, almost 3 month period. I mean, everybody was masked everywhere. Okay, I did not see anybody without a mask, and the virus over that period was spreading like wildfire. So I'm wondering like what the rationale here is for in places where you have had near universal mask compliance. you still had rapid spread of the virus, but we're told that if only we have one family at a time in the elevator, this all goes away. I mean, I really think the Democrats are living in an absurd alternate universe, and our choices are to either continue to suffer in reality, or it's like the Matrix. Like, do I want to be told that I'm not really eating a steak, but don't I want the feeling of eating a steak? Well, that's being with the Democrats, right? This is the red pill, blue pill.
Oh, it is. This is all this is a child's comforting blankie. That's all this is, because the truth is, Buck, the reason we've had such conflicting information on this virus from the very beginning, this country's done it this way, this city's done it that way, this state's done it this way, and all the numbers are all over the place, and you can't even get straight answers on numbers because half the people are lying about that. The entire medical field's lying about it because it pays more to have someone die of coronavirus than anything else. You can't ever get a straight answer. You're not ever going to get a straight answer, and the people who are the experts don't have a daggone clue how to fix this, how to treat it, what to deal with. Here's the truth, people. I'm about to give it to you. Ready? This virus is going to work its way through all of our society, period. I don't care about your dumb mask, your face shields, your stupid footprints on the floor. The virus is going to work its way through America. It's going to kill whoever we can't save. I hope it doesn't kill another person, but that's naive. It's going to work its way through the entire country. Let's get the daggone thing over with.
Jesse, I mean, I've been telling the same thing. I mean, this is also why I think T-cell immunity and antibodies are the only thing that you're really seeing that's stopping the spread. People believe in New York now we have almost no virus here. Oh, all of a sudden we got so good at mask wearing. That's insane. That's absurd. It doesn't make people really believe that. How do you think we're doing with this silent getting back to fixing this, and so people don't feel like we're all just depressed, which being in the American media these days is kind of a depressing experience. What do you think about this silent majority voting for Trump and how we're going to actually have a really strong turnout? Do you think it's there? It's tough. It's hard for me to believe it because I don't want the majority to be silent right now. I'd rather have people actually making a lot of noise about all the craziness that's going on. But do you think it's there?
I don't care. This is what I mean by that. Now, obviously, I voted for Trump before. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump again. And this is not about me being mad about the coronavirus shutdowns or the weak response to Black Lives Matter in the beginning. It's not about that. I want the silent majority to wake up and open up their freaking mouths. I'm so tired of hearing that from people on our side of, well, we have the silent majority. We have the silent majority. Okay, well, that's great. If you only speak once every 4 years when there's a presidential election, in case you haven't noticed, we're losing America in the meantime. The left, I realize they're a bunch of vicious scumbags, but at least they go out and they make their voices heard. These scumbags in Black Lives Matter have been looting, rioting, and murdering people for years now. This just didn't start months ago. Years now, they have pelts on the wall. They have murdered people, and yet they have complete legitimacy in this society. Every corporation, every sports team acts like this is a legitimate group. Why? Because they're not the silent majority. They get their butts out there in the street, and they make sure they're in your face until you listen. Now, I'm not telling you we need to conduct ourselves like Black Lives Matter, but this silent majority crap, it doesn't work anymore. It better open up its mouth real quick.
Amen. Jesse Kelly, everybody. If you're not already, you should be following the man on social media. You can check out I'm Right with Jesse Kelly on the 1st. And also, if you're down in Houston, KPRC Houston, right before yours truly, the Jesse Kelly Show, the fantastic lead-in for the Buck Sexton Show. Jesse, great to have you on, man.
See you, boss.
We can't have democratic socialism and everything's going to be okay. One, the economic system cripples the economy and you don't get production, you don't get economic benefit, you get high unemployment. But the other thing that happens is as socialism progresses is you trend and drift towards authoritarianism. You end up having violence as a side effect of the government trying to own things, because if they want to own the means of production, someone already owns the means of production, and that's us,
right,
the private individuals. So when they come to get it, they have to use violence. So I'm very, very worried. But I think part of our message, not only in supporting President Trump, but also explaining to young people the disaster that is socialism and that we don't want that in our country. And I loved in the State of the Union when the president said,
right,
America will never be a socialist country. And that's what this is about. Ultimately, people say it's not. It is. You're going to have socialists in the next administration. I promise you there will be Bernie Sanders socialists in the next administration if we let Biden win.
socialists in power in this country if Joe Biden wins the election that is now less than 3 months away. Rand Paul is right. That will happen. So we should at least remind ourselves of this, because here's my concern. It continues to be one of the biggest worries I have about all of this as we go forward. What is the very clear possibility for a lot of people as we continue to get just beaten down by all this and all the absurdity and all the nonsense out there? We want something else. That we'll have this mentality of, fine, if we give the lunatics what they want, maybe they will stop ruining everything for everyone. If we let Joe Biden, and I'm not saying you have this in your head, but I worry there are a lot of people who will. And I do think that the Democrats are counting on this, that there will be this, okay, fine, anything but the continued absurdity and insanity of the left. We'll just vote for Biden. They say he's a moderate. No, that's a disaster. That's a disaster, because if we do that, then they will see that, one, we don't have the backbone for the fight, so they'll get even more aggressive. And two, they'll be in power. They will have the ability through our own system to enact the policies that they currently agitate for, right? Their activism will just turn into action. They'll be told they will tell us, rather, this is what is happening in America today. This is the future that you're all going to be living in. So we cannot allow ourselves to just get beaten down by their ferocity and tenacity. I think that this is one of their main strategies. And if you have socialists in charge in this country, the stuff that we've already started to see with the disruptions in the economy and the unemployment and the destruction of businesses and just making life more annoying for everybody, it's all going to get worse. So while there's a part of me even that feels like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we have to fight with these loons, I have to stifle that part and say, all right, I say we fight. Let's get into it. Let's speak the truth. Let's get as many of our fellow patriotic Americans out there as possible, spreading the truth, sharing what they know to be real virtues, real honesty, promoting decency and lawfulness in American discourse. Whatever areas of our life you feel like are most under assault right now, fighting back. Because unfortunately, the mentality of the left is always, if they can have more power, they'll do an even better job. And so that means they deserve more power and will use it. There will be no moderation from them. There will be no return to the center if Biden wins. It will just be more of what you're seeing in power and more socialism.
It's time for roll call.
Roll call, everybody. Let's get to it. Hope you had a great weekend. So glad to be back with you. Want to hear from all of you. And remember, Producer Mark's favorite extracurricular homework assignment is the voicemail inbox, 844-900-2825, 844-900-BUCK. That is how you can get your voice heard on the show. And we have other exciting things planned for all of you. So here we go. Isabella, first up on roll call. Remember, Team Buck at iHeartMedia.com or Facebook.com/Buck Sexton. Isabella. Hey, Buck, my boyfriend forces me to listen to your podcast every single day. We just listened to a recent episode where producer Mark said he has watched every single season of Big Brother. I was on last year, season 21. Shout out to producer Mark. Hey, producer Mark, do you remember Isabella from Big Brother?
I do. She was on last year. Good competitor. Did not end up winning. Not my favorite season of Big Brother overall, but not because of Bella at all.
If you could have given Isabella, in retrospect, any advice to get the Big Brother crown, what would it have been?
I don't get that deep into it. Come on.
I don't know.
I need to give advice. I never played the game. She's more of an expert than I am.
Fair point.
Huh.
Fair point. Well, Isabella, thank you so much for listening. And you and your boyfriend, I hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm sorry it makes you listen every day. It was a pretty good show. As better than the other conservative stuff out there. I'm just going to say it. All right. And I'm going to have to check out Big Brother now. So I just like watch people like brush their teeth and walk around their apartment or something. What do I do?
Well, it's not. I mean, yes, hypothetically, you can subscribe. There are live feeds, but I mean, most people with lives don't sit there and watch 24 hours a day. But there's 3 episodes a week. I believe it's Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, and it gives you a recap of what happened.
Okay. All right. We'll check it out. Interesting. That's cool. We got a celebrity who listens to the show, though. See?
Yeah, look at that.
We got a celebrity listening to the Team Buck action. That's what I'm talking about there. Yeah, producer Mark, look at you getting celebrity shout-outs. Any day now, Snooki is going to write in and be like, Producer Mark, I love you. You're the best. Any day.
I think Angelina follows you on Twitter.
That is true, from the Jersey Shore. Good point. But, yeah, we should have her on at some point. That'd be fun. Jeanette, could you please speak to how fascism is associated with the left? Getting tired of Trump getting called a fascist. Whew, Jeanette, that's a lot for a roll call, meaning that would take quite a long time, I think, to discuss it. So fascism, there's a lot of ways that you could you tie this to the left. Fascism is an ideology that's effectively a combination of nationalism and collectivism. And if you think even of the symbol of fascism is the bundle of it actually comes from ancient Rome, I think, where it's a bundle of sticks bound together because that's even stronger. So that's where you get the fasces was a bundle of sticks tied together, making a thing stronger. So that was kind of Trump-like. I just kind of repeated. I was, yes, bundle of sticks, making it stronger. Fascism, if you want a really good rundown, you could read Liberal Fascism by Jonah Goldberg before he became full of nothing but Trump hatred and kind of snarky nastiness. He did write a good book about 15 years ago where he deals with the history of fascism and how it is, in fact, a left-wing thing. And then you have democratic socialism, which is what the Nazis called their fascism. So there's a lot of ways of getting into it, but fascism is certainly of the left. And if you look at the policies of fascism, it's always state control, which is not something you usually think of as certainly not a conservative point of view. And it's always about the collective. It's never about the individual. So, and the fascists fighting against the communists was because of the similarities and the nearness that they had to each other ideologically, not that they were diametrically opposed. If you go back to the World War II era, so the 1920s and 30s, then into the actual World War II, the communists were one of the shortcomings of communism was that people thought of themselves, sure, that maybe they wanted to be a communist, but they wanted to be a German communist or a Russian communist or Soviet, but Russian in flavor. And that was one of the ways that fascism grew in certain places because there was still a cultural and identification with the nation state, even if there was a collectivist approach to it. So I hope that's a very quick answer to a very long question. But I will say Jonah Goldberg, liberal fascism is a good place to go and read about that. So there you have it. Yeah. Rich. Hey, Buck, your example of a sign standing in the elevator is yet another example of the ongoing insult to intelligence that pervades so much of the do something response to COVID. Daniel Horowitz of Conservative Review often brings up the absurdity of the claim a mask is not to protect you from ambiently present Rona breath, but it somehow is up to the task of blocking your Rona breath to me from your Rona spigots right at the highest possible velocity and moisture. Yet here in Wisconsin, Republican Assembly is afraid to rescind Governor Evers' illegal mask mandate because supposed polling says folks embrace this insult to intelligence. Yeah, Rich, I said that I was up in upstate with family over the weekend, and my one of my family members told me that she was walking on a path out in the woods. It was a hiking trail, and a person passed her on the hiking trail, and it's a wide trail, and she's out there walking by herself on a hiking trail. Someone's passing her on a hiking trail, and the person had a mask on and said, and lectured her, you really should be wearing a mask. Really? Outside alone in the woods? You should be wearing a mask? Does anyone realize how stupid they sound when they say this stuff? It's a lunacy, folks. People, this is really a craze now. Oh, yeah, you're by yourself. You're out in the open air. Are we all just, is this like the CO2 lunacy of libs where you know, carbon dioxide coming out of your mouth is warming the planet and we're all going to die? We're all just walking around polluting the air with our virus, even though 99.9% of us don't even have coronavirus right now as I'm talking to you. So we're walking around. We don't have any virus. We're not a risk to anybody. A lot of us probably already have antibodies and T-cell immunity, but we all have to wear a mask. It's just dumb. They're wrong and it's dumb, but people are so scared. You can't have a rational discussion with them. That's where we are. That's what this is all turned into. People just want to be absurd. Adam, Buck, if you were forced to do a small business, I think you would start a gluten-free wheat farm and provide help to all those who share your ailment. Shields high. Well, Adam, yeah, I don't know if is there gluten-free wheat? I know you can remove gluten from wheat to make it gluten-free. But I did not know that there was actually gluten-free wheat. I guess I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm very much hoping that at some point they will figure out how to cure the autoimmune deficiency known as celiac disease that I suffer from, because it's very annoying. I mean, even just last week, I ordered some Mexican takeout food, and they gave me a flour tortilla instead of a corn tortilla, even though I asked, and even though I actually wrote it down, specified for them. And, you know, then I just get to have 2 or 3 days of discomfort, pain, etc. So it sucks. But hopefully they'll cure it at some point. And, Buck, you and producer Mark can talk about President Trump wanting to eliminate the payroll tax. Isn't that a bad idea? Doesn't it fund Social Security, Medicare? Thanks. Listen on KFAB Omaha, an iHeart radio station. And, yeah. It is true that it funds Social Security and Medicare in part, but remember, they're deferring it. They're not eliminating it. And this is, relatively speaking, would be a limited, a finite period of time. So it's not like all the funding would stop for those things. This is a stopgap measure right now, and I did talk about it in some detail earlier on in the show. So hopefully you feel like I covered it pretty well with that. More roll call. Remember to check in on bucksexton.com. We're going to be unveiling some new fun features, I believe, this week on the site. So that'll be well worth it. We post stories there and other excellent things. bucksexton.com. Add it to your favorites list, please. So that way you can always just click and check in, and we'll be doing cool stuff there. All right. Philip, here's a thought. Open the polls for in-person voting on Sunday and close them on Tuesday. Plenty of time for well-distanced voting. About 14 hours a day should do it, and there's plenty of people not working who can fill in as election judges. Thanks for all you do. Best show or radio or podcast. Or best show on radio or podcast. Well, Philip, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And I do think we are confident saying we will put the show up against any show out there. And I try to make it as worth your time every day as I possibly can. As for the voting extending, see, Philip, we got to remember, you're approaching this as a person who wants to solve the problem of having voting occur that is safe and fair and doable. Democrats are not approaching it from that perspective. They're approaching it from, what do we do? How do we set up the rules? And what narrative do we push that is most helpful to us winning? Whatever that is what they want to do. There is no universally applicable Democrat sense about voting and voting regulations. It's always, what will this mean for Democrats to win? Right. So that's why, yes, I think your idea is interesting, but they're not approaching it with the same purpose that you are. So just remember that. Even if your argument is better, they're looking to do what they can to make sure that the Democrats win. And whatever that is what they're going to do. Douglas, hello, Buck. Enough. We lost the 28 midterms, which changed President Trump's policy momentum as we passively waited for phony investigations to play out, only to find out that Wray continues to sit and slow walk documents. While Senate Republicans refuse to take charge in these hearings, Trump is all alone, except for Team Buck, of course. He's going to have to take charge. I think that there's this whole conservative Inc. focus on, any day now, the Russia collusion, just, count down the minutes until the Russia collusion bombshell. Oh, we're finally going to get, guys, we already know what they did and nothing's happening to them. We already know. This is why I tell you, don't expect the Durham investigation to be some kind of a savior for us. Just don't expect that. And I agree with you. It's all, whether Trump wins the election or not, it's all on him, in that he can't count really on anybody outside of himself to make this happen. Right? He doesn't have an apparatus that will carry him to victory. In fact, he's got a very considerable apparatus that's trying to destroy him. P.S. Fear City is awesome. Thanks for the tip. Tony Ducks was the name you were searching for last week. That's right, Tony Ducks. That was the one. Hey, Tony Ducks. You ever heard of Tony Ducks, Mark?
I have not, no.
Yeah.
Sounds like a stereotypical Italian name.
Hey, Tony Ducks. You know what I mean? Tony Ducks eats the prosciutto. Well, the bresaola, the prosciutto, and hey, something like that. Look, Italian salted meats are delicious. Let's be honest. And
We've been talking
Fear
a lot
City
about Italian meat lately.
That's true. Well, I've been watching a lot of this mobster stuff, and I get hungry. By the time the show ends, I'm hungry every day. So that's that too.
You just have a chicken parm delivered to you every day right after.
Oof. Good idea from producer Mark. That would definitely get it done. Fear City is all. Yeah, Fear City. Have you watched it yet, producer Mark?
I have not, but it's on the list.
It's good. It's good. No, it's not. You don't have to make it top. I'm not going to give you a hard time at that one. It's pretty good. PPS, he writes, producer Mark played a clip of Governor Cuomo coming out of your impression, and I had no idea where the cutoff was. Great stuff. Well, thank you very much, Douglas, for liking the Cuomo impersonation. Cuomo kind of likes to talk like this. And then he sometimes goes kind of low and he goes fast. But then he goes back up high, and it's like, why am I having to talk to you people? Indeed. David, hey, Buck, longtime listener. Like you, I believe universal mail-in voting will be a disaster for this election. Absentee is different, but the mainstream media intentionally conflates the two. I challenge anyone who's for mail-in voting to send themselves a cashier's check for $10,000 via UPS. I bet they'd think twice. Anyway, love the show. Keep up the great work. Shields high. Yeah, David, I mean, would you mail yourself a winning lottery ticket? Nope, you would not. Would you mail in a winning lottery ticket? Nope, you would not. You would carry it. You would hand carry it. Post office loses stuff, folks. Post office loses stuff. And now we have on the Instagram. Remember, if you're not already and you're on Instagram, please follow us, Buck Sexton, on Instagram. Love to have you following us there. That would be very helpful. Want to build out all of our social following so I can talk to Team Buck constantly. That would be great. Let's see here. We have Emily writes, Buck, did you see the disgusting COVID grandma Joe Biden ad? Of course, it implied POTUS is responsible for Granny's death. What they don't tell us is that she probably is one of Cuomo's nursing homes in New York. They have no morals, conscience, or decency. Thank you for encouraging us to fight back against these delusionals. Fight with Buck, shields high. Emily, I have not seen that ad, but I can't tell you I'm even the least bit surprised that it is a thing. So I'll have to go check that one out. And yeah, Cuomo just came out today. Turns out he does not want an independent commission to look at his handling of the nursing home issue. Oh, no one is surprised by this. No one is even a little bit surprised by this because that's the single most disastrous, single most obviously horrific decision that anybody made during the entire fiasco of the New York, New Jersey COVID crisis. So there you have it. Yeah, it's certainly true. Next up here, hold on a second. We're trying to get, oh, nice. The angry libs keep finding me on Instagram. I don't want to read you any of the, it would be kind of fun, though, to read some of these semi-literate libs who are like, I'm going to get mad at you on Instagram. Brr. Yeah, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Please don't worry about me. Let's see here. Oh, Whoops. Someone's asking me to join a new social media platform they just started. I don't think we're going to do that one. Richard writes, Buck, so I was looking for board books for my son, and what's the first thing that shows up? Just give the algorithm, they say. Okay. Well, Richard, thanks for sending it in, man. I don't know what that book was. I couldn't see the image you sent. What else do we have here? Oh, producer Mark. We've already given out the voicemail box. I want to make sure everyone gets it. 844-900-2825, 844-900-BUCK. We got to close up shop there for today, everybody. Thanks for being here. Pass the buck. Share the podcast with a friend. Until tomorrow, shield high.